he said to me, "Is this your shop?" I said, "Yeah." I mean, it was too serious. You know what I mean? And I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah, no.
He's like, "But are you the owner?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "The last time I was in here, you told me and my buddy to go ourselves." And I said, "Sir, if I'm being really honest, that sounds like something I might say." But he was straight facing me big time. And I'm like, I'm sorry if I offended you. And then he just breaks into this big smile and he says, "Offended me? We're still laughing about it to this day. I just wanted to come by and tell you." And I said, "Oh, you had me."
Welcome to the Destination Angler Podcast, the podcast for anglers who travel. And I'm your host, Steve Haig. We go right to the source, the local guides and experts, to build your knowledge of top fishing locations around North America. It's a big world out there. Now go and fish it.
I'm going away for a while, but I'll be back soon. Whoa, whoa.
Hey listeners, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Destination Angler Podcast, brought to you by J.P. Ross Fly Rods, makers of happiness, one rod at a time. Get outside and simply fish. Coming up on the Destination Angler, we have the fan favorite of Colorado, the Arkansas River. I had a chance to fish this river just a few weeks ago, and what a gem it is. Later on, we're headed to the lower Sacramento River for some big stripers, and then we're headed back to Colorado for the South Platte River. Hey, if you're a fan of the Destination Angler, tag a buddy and let them know about the show. Be sure to backcast to catch the last episode on the Beaverkill River with master angler and fly tyer Joe Rist, Trout Town Flies, Roscoe, New York. Considered the birthplace of American dry fly fishing, the Beaverkill is often called the most celebrated trout stream in America, with some of the best dry fly fishing in the East. Hey, if you like technical angling and specialized fly patterns, this episode is for you. And today we have a great show for you, something just a little bit different. Because today you're coming along with me on my fishing spree through central Pennsylvania and the world-famous limestone trout streams there that make this region so special. During my week-long adventure in late June, I was able to fish such iconic places as Spring Creek, Fishing Creek, Penn's Creek, the Letort, Big Spring Creek, the Little Juniata, and Spruce Creek. And along the way, I was able to catch up with some super interesting people. We'll start with George Costa, manager of TCO Fly Shop, who gives us the lowdown on top streams in and around State College, along with some tight line nymphing tips and strategies for summer conditions. Then I had a chance to sit down with Neil Sunday, Relentless Fly Fishing, to talk about our day on the Letort. Man, did we have a great time. We even put one in the net and stung a couple of others too. Neil and the Letort were featured on an episode last summer if you want to check that out. And then Jonas Price, owner of the Feathered Hook near Penn's Creek. Hey, what can I say about Jonas? He's one of a kind. You might have heard the show we did with Jonas and his head guide, Matt Gwalchuk, last summer. So everywhere I go, I just love talking to people, and I was sitting in this coffee shop in Millheim, Pennsylvania, and started talking to the owner of the coffee shop. His name is Dennis, who it turns out sold everything and moved from New York City to live off the grid in central Pennsylvania. So we have a little clip with Dennis as well. I hope you enjoy these great people as much as I did. Hey, how are you guys?
Good morning, sir. How we doing?
Good.
Good, buddy.
Had a good morning.
Yeah.
On Fishing Creek.
Did you?
Yeah, in the Narrows.
Awesome,
are you
man.
George?
I am George.
Hey, man, I'm Steve.
Hey, Steve, how are you?
This is for you guys.
Thank you.
Good meeting
Nice to meet you.
It's a pleasure. All right, so I'm sitting here with George Costa with TCO Fly Shop, and these guys do a great job here. I've been in and out of here a couple times in the last few days. How you doing, George?
I am amazing as always.
Yeah, good.
Yep.
Good.
Amazing as always.
And you run the shop here, huh?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm the manager here at TCO in the State College location. It's it's good stuff.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. You got a good group of guys out here.
Mm-hmm.
So
For sure. They said that they sent you out fishing yesterday. Where'd you go?
yesterday I was on Spring Creek and did okay. This morning I went to Fishing Creek, and I thought that was amazing.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite stream around here. Just like classic Pennsylvania trout stream, pretty idyllic, technically tough. I love that stream.
Yeah.
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 Not an easy one. A lot of people go there, they fish once, don't catch anything, and never go back, which is fine by me. Keeps more people off the water
Right.
for me.
Yeah, no, it was beautiful.
Indeed. Yeah.
It reminded me of like a Western freestone stream.
Yeah, very much, but just a little more riparian than that, I think. Just,
Yeah.
Pennsylvania, just classic Pennsylvania look to it, which is awesome.
Yeah, that was really cool. So,
Cool.
all right, so here's the big question. Why should people come all the way to State College to fish?
Well, people have been coming here to fish for years. I mean, this has been one of the premier and is one of the most premier destinations on the East Coast. I mean,
sure.
the fishing here in central Pennsylvania arguably is the best on the East Coast, maybe outside of the Catskills, Delaware region. I think it's better because you get more variety of water up here than you would on the Delaware. But I mean, there's no reason not to come fishing up here. I mean, we've got within half an hour, 35 minutes of where we're sitting right now, we've got 4, amazing Class A streams. And, within an hour, you can be on, hundreds of miles of water to explore and to fish. So, I mean, it's some of the best fishing in the country here in State College. So there's no reason you shouldn't come here.
Exactly.
If you want to catch, wild Pennsylvania brown trout.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So what are the main streams then? What you've got?
So our 4 main streams up here would be Spring Creek, which is probably the most famous of the lot, which is, we could walk there in about a minute and a half. It's right down the road, and that runs 15 miles from up in, Hauserville, up here in Lamont, all the way down to Milesburg. And Spring Creek's amazing. It's got the highest concentration of trout of any stream on the East Coast. It's just absolutely loaded, filthy with fish. And they're all wild for the most part. There's there's a couple of stockies here and there, but I mean, pretty much 95% of them are all wild fish. Not easy to catch, but there's enough of them so that every now and then you get lucky and you get a dumb one. But it's just a great stream, just prolific fishery. What else? We got Penn's Creek, probably, the next most famous. I mean, famous mostly for its green drakes. It's another, wonderful Class A stream. Again, primarily all wild fish. Little Juniata, same thing, another bigger stream, all wild, with some stockies in there. And then Fishing Creek, which we just talked about. So, I mean, we have 4 major streams, within 35 minutes. And they're all, they're all good, and they've all got their charms to them.
Yeah, for sure. So tell me about, it's hot outside today.
It is hot outside.
Super hot.
Yes.
We're into kind of summer weather right now.
Yes, we are.
Streams are pretty low and clear.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the strategy? How do you still do well?
Well, you fish early, you fish late. Get out on the stream, crack ass of dawn, get out there right before dark, avoid those bright sunny days, and start fishing those terrestrial patterns. Are really our bread and butter in the summer. Beetles, ants, greeny weenies, inchworm patterns. Those are our bread and butter go-tos. Mayfly imitations are everything hatched and all the eggs are new. So your smaller mayfly imitations are not as prolific this time of year. So I think fish are looking more for those insects that are in the water, those sow bugs, those scuds, those terrestrials that fall in the water. Hatches have kind of died down. There's a few here. We should start seeing trichos probably, within the next week or so. That's a smaller, can be productive hatch. There's some Cahills around here and there for mayflies, and the bigger streams have ISOs, which can be isolated and sporadic. But, if you can get into a good ISO hatch in the summer, that's always fun. But, those, I think just, lighter tippet for sure, smaller flies, nymphing is, going to get you more, if you're searching with a dry fly during the day, dry dropper is a great strategy.
Sure.
Tan caddis with a small, ant off the back is always a good strategy in the summer.
Okay. What kind of beetle pattern do you like?
Just any little black beetle's fine. High vis beetle or something that's maybe a size 12, 14 tends to be a good size. Yeah, they don't need to be teeny tiny. Sometimes you want to throw a little guy on there, but Japanese beetles tend to work really well around here.
Really?
We have invasive species that they're all over the place around here, so those can work really well. But any small black beetle will work good on that.
Okay. And typically, are you going down to 5, 6X to get these guys?
Yeah, this time of year, definitely 5, 6, sometimes 7 if it's really low and clear. But I'd say I hover somewhere around the 5 or 6X range.
Okay.
For most of my, summertime fishing, 6 is probably where you want to be.
And you guys are big on tight line nymphing in the state.
Yeah, I mean, that's everybody. That's all the rage. It's all the rage. Everybody, I mean, it's an effective way to fish.
Is it a rage, or is it, like you say, is it super effective?
It's super effective.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, tight line nymphing is going to be a way more productive way to fish. Sometimes, though, in the summer, it can kind of have its disadvantages just because you want to have a longer drift. So those heavy flies in the summer, especially once those weed beds kind of get going, sometimes you don't want to dredge the bottom. Sometimes it makes more sense to fish lighter nymphs on a really light suspension indicator, like a New Zealand strike indicator or a dry dropper. You don't want your nymph to maybe be dredging the bottom a lot in the summer just because of the weeds that grow. Yeah. In the summer, it's probably not as effective as it'd be in, early spring. But still, you're going to outfish. If you know what you're doing with it, you're going to do better on that than most other forms, depending on the conditions and where you are as well.
And the tight line nymphing, to do it well, you've really got to have that specialized rod, don't you?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. You're going to need, a 10-foot rod at least, 2-3 weights ideal. But, longer rod, you want to be able to, have better line management, line control. So longer rod is definitely better for it.
And you're using mostly mono, right? I mean, that's what's coming out the end of that rod, right? Really long leaders.
Oh, yeah. Yep. That's what you can't use a heavy fly line with that. You need a long monofilament leader or a fly line that's specially, designed for that, like a Phipps line or a Rio Euroline or a Cortland comp line, something like that. Yep.
Yeah, and then rod tip is super flexible, supple, right?
Yeah, so very sensitive, so you can actually feel your flies kind of going and ticking along the bottom. Yeah, for sure.
And it's hard to cast mono with just a standard rod, I've found.
You can't load the rod, so you need the softer tip on a longer rod helps to kind of load it, to turn over the weight from the flies. You're not really fly casting, you're just kind of lobbing. Yeah. It's a refined form of chuck and duck.
Chuck and duck, you got it. Oh my gosh. All right, so how'd you end up doing this, being the manager of this place?
Well, that's, I've been working for TCO since 2011, 2012. In their Philly location, I was working down there part-time when I lived in Philadelphia. Okay. And end of 2014, I got the opportunity to come up here and work up here full-time and, sold the house and moved out of the Philadelphia region and decided to come live up here in the woods and, definitely don't regret it.
So you were working at TCO in Philly. Where you had
just part-time.
You had an opportunity to come up here?
Yep.
And you grabbed it?
Yep. Good. Why not? Came up here to, leave the restaurant business and live the dream up here. So, yeah, it's great.
You ran a restaurant?
Yeah, I worked in restaurants in Philadelphia for 17 years.
Oh, you did? What kind of restaurants?
Everything.
Oh, you did?
I bartended, managed, did everything up there. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So going from bartending, managing restaurants to this.
It's an easy transition. Not at all. It's an easy transition. It's all about customer service. I mean, we work, retail is customer service and guiding is the essential customer service thing. So it's a very, very smooth, natural transition to go from one and together.
What do you love about this?
What do I love about this? Yeah. What's not to love? I mean, it's an awesome sport. It's an awesome thing. I mean, I love everything about it,
Yeah. And when days it feels like work, what's a day like that feel like?
Days when it feels like work is when there's 45 guys in the shop and everybody's asking the same question.
45 of me. I ask a lot of questions.
Yeah. Well, you're asking the right questions, I guess.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Yesterday I came in here and I came in the day before as well. And each time I came in here, I got a little more information and got me a little more dialed in.
Nice.
And had a great fish last night and a really good one this morning as well. And you guys are dropping pins for me and being super helpful.
Nice.
So.
Well, I mean, like we say here, I mean, everybody's like, we get guys in the shop all the time that are like, well, tell me about your, where would you go fishing? Where's your secret spot? A, I'm not telling you. And B, there are no secrets. There are no secrets in Central PA. Yeah. This water's been picked over and fished for the past 100+ years. Nobody's got a secret spot. Everybody's been there before. There's, just go out and explore. We have so much water around here. You can fish a week here and fish 7 different places. There's so much to explore. Yeah. So just get out there and, find something. Find something that, you're happy to have found by yourself that somebody didn't put you on. That's the most rewarding part of it is the exploration and the self-fulfillment of actually saying, hey, I found this little blue line on the water. I went there and I caught a 14-inch brook trout. That's what awesome. It's about. Yeah.
No, that's a ton of fun. It's pretty much what I did this morning.
Good.
So, good. All right. Well, George, what else do people need to know about fishing around State College that we haven't told them yet?
I mean, if you're coming for trout, that's where it's at. I mean, you want to fish for trout, you're on the East Coast, and we're within 3-4 hour drive of pretty much anywhere on the East Coast, Yeah. And we see everybody come through here April, May into the middle of June. Not much more to know other than make it happen. Get out there and stop listening to me on the podcast and get in your car and drive up here.
This is for the drive.
Come fishing. That's for the drive, right?
Yeah, this is drive stuff.
Excellent news.
All right.
So,
awesome.
Come fish, man. That's it.
All right. Well, thanks for being on the show, George. I appreciate it.
No problem, man. It's my pleasure. Anytime.
Great meeting you.
You as well.
All right, man. Take it easy.
You too.
Hi, everybody. This is JP from JP Ross Fly Rods. We're happy to support Steve and sponsor the Destination Angler podcast. Do us a favor and check us out on our website, smallstreamflyfishing.com. JP Ross Fly Rods and Company has been around since 1997. We've made thousands of fly rods with one purpose, helping you get outside and be happy. So check out our line of small stream fly rods like our Muir 7-foot 5-piece 3-weight E-glass, our famous Beaver Meadow series of rods starting at 5-foot 2-weight, and don't forget our 6.5-foot 3-weight 4-piece, and now our new Beaver Meadow S-glass 6.5, 2-weight, 3-weight, all the way up to 8-foot 5-weight, all in 4-piece. Check us out, please, at smallstreamflyfishing.com. And thanks a lot for listening. We'll see you on the water.
All right, so I'm sitting here with Neil Sunday, and you guys remember last year, I think in the summer, we did a show on the Letort with Neil. And man, I tell you what, Neil and I just had a whirlwind tour of the Letort. Thanks to you, Neil. Everything you said is true.
Nice. That's a rarity in fishing guides sometimes.
Well, about half the guys tell me, hey, man, if you're ever in the area, come fish with me. And every now and then, I'll give somebody a call and I'll go fishing with
We
them.
lived up to it today.
Yeah.
And by the way, folks out there, Steve is being very humble. We have to cheers our sodas right now because he did join the Letort Club.
Oh, man.
Putting a fish on the bank today was awesome, in the net.
Yeah.
So congratulations, Steve.
The coolest thing, of course, when you're going with Neil, everybody in the area says, oh, you're fishing with Neil, you will get a good tour of the Letort today. Neil's the man for the matter of fact, even in the fly shop, they don't even know what flies you're using in there. You got to talk to Neil.
Top secrets.
Top secret. So Neil puts me into a fantastic area, and I don't know, within 20 minutes, dropped a bug in the middle of the stream, and bam, up came a fish. And I tell you what, I have never seen a guy move so fast. I'm not talking me, I'm talking Neil. Neil was, because we're walking the bank. Neil, you were in the water with your net.
You got to do it, man.
Fish. And you're not guiding me today. We're both fishing.
We're fishing like buddies today, man. It was a good day.
Neil feet first, dove in the water. And the thing had gone submersible, jumped a few times. And then, Neil, you dug it out of the weeds. You netted it.
Yeah, man.
To give you some of the backstory, I landed this fish at one of Neil's favorite holes on the Letort. It was a deep and dark hole full of channels made by weed beds with tricky microcurrents. And as we approached the stream, Neil kind of reminded me to walk softly because the fish can feel the vibrations of our footsteps. He said, these fish have PhDs, he kind of whispered with a chuckle. And then Neil suggested I pull out a terrestrial, so I tied on a rubber-legged ant pattern and cast it out in the middle of the stream, and lo and behold, a Letort Loch Levin brown trout sucked it in, and instantly that fish was airborne and the fight was on. So let's listen as Neil picks up the story.
As that fish was catapulting, I was en route into the water, so I got an eye-level view of that jump, and that was pretty spectacular.
It came on, and I was really impressed with, what is it, the Loch Levin strain of fishing?
Yeah, the Loch Levin brown trout. What the Letort's known for.
Yeah, completely different looking fish than a regular German brown, right?
Yeah, they're rockets. They eat with an attitude. They're finicky. They're decisive. Everything you could want.
Yeah. And we'll put a picture on the Destination Angler Facebook, Instagram page. So you guys can see the fish, but they look really different. They almost look like a landlocked salmon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe bigger spots, more spread apart. Anyway, it was a pretty cool moment. I don't know who was more excited, me or Neil.
hey, even though I live here and fish it all the time, it's every fish on that creek is special.
Yeah.
And to get one to come up and eat a dry fly or a terrestrial like we did is pretty awesome. And I still get excited about it, and that's why I still do it.
Yeah.
Because if you're not passionate about that creek, there's no reason to go fish it.
You are. I tell you, it came through, and I felt like I just shot a 10-point buck or something. I mean, we were high-fiving, and it completely reminded me what me and my buddies do when we get a nice deer.
Absolutely.
You know, congratulations, way to go, you did it. You know, and we had a couple of eats today besides that. Right?
Yeah, we definitely did. You know, one thing about the Letort, it's truly an us versus them style of fishing. Like whether I'm with a guided client or fishing with a buddy like you, Steve, you have that mentality. It's almost like us versus the elements versus every weeping willow or stick in the water or piece of moss.
Yeah.
It's all in for the Letort.
Yeah.
And when it happens, it's good.
Yeah.
You know, you got that feeling, man.
You made me feel good. I know that a couple of those branches and some of that grass you caught, you did just to make me feel good, didn't you?
Hey, like I said, man, it spares nobody.
Yeah.
Just because you have a label of guide behind you, it's still going to grab you.
So the best cast I saw today was we were trying to get a cast up under a bridge, which was probably only 4 or 5 feet off the water. And behind us is this tall grass in the middle of the stream. And I'm casting, and I just couldn't quite get it far enough up there, you know. I caught the grass once. Neil gets in there, and he finds a lane, right, of where the grass, I don't know, it's like a lane where water was coming through. And you were able to get your back cast into that lane and get that fly up under that bridge.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool cast.
You know, growing up and fishing in South Central Pennsylvania, you learn to always look almost like a lineal passageway all the time. I think of the way your fly line travels in a straight line forward and a straight line back.
Yeah.
And that's the way I see the creek, you know.
Yeah.
So I spotted that, you know, from under the bridge straight down through the grasses.
Yeah.
You learn those passageways.
I guess.
And once you figure that out, everything becomes more clear.
There you go. Look for lanes. It was interesting that after that one fish, Neil said, "Hey man, it's time to move on to another hole." You know, I was kind of puzzled by this because, you know, I was thinking, hey, this is a great spot, man. Let's keep fishing. You know, let's spend some more time here. But, you know, later on in the morning, Neil shared that he believes that each time you catch a trout, it becomes 1% smarter, which I found to be a super interesting comment. So I guess the message is, hey, we want to catch fish, but let's not educate the entire pool, kind of, if you get my drift. Well, how's your guiding season shaping up?
You know, guiding has been great. I feel blessed to be a part of Relentless Fly Fishing and TCO Fly Shops. You know, the last 18 months have been hard on everybody, and people are ready to get out and enjoy the outdoors, and we're ready to accommodate that, and we love it. You know, keep the fishing boots wet, and we'll be all right.
Yeah, amen to that. That's great. And you've got some trips booked for the rest of the year, and even some steelhead trips up to Pulaski.
Yeah, we're gonna head up to Pulaski in November and December. But you know, right now is a perfect time of year on our spring creeks here in Cumberland Valley. While the fishing might be dying down for the months of July into August, you know, we're gonna look for some great terrestrial fishing like you experienced today.
Yeah.
You know, ants, beetles, hoppers, oh my.
Right. Oh my gosh. You know, guys, today, is it the hottest day of the year today? 96?
It's the hottest I've experienced, man. It's putting me through the waters. And
I'll tell you what, we got our long sleeve, you know, UV protect shirts on and everything, but we pretty much, you know, we were fishing in the shade. It wasn't too bad.
Yeah, between the shade and the quick car rides and the occasional dip along the water's edge, we're all right, man.
In one person's face. my slip down in the river quietly didn't go so good.
the Letort baptism.
Well, I didn't completely float the hand.
No.
Did get the cotton boxers wet though, which was that's okay, right? So Neil, one of the things I noticed, like everywhere we went, there was a story. And
sure.
And you're a super humble guy, but all these stories had to do with the work, a lot of the work that you're leading. Right?
Yeah. I mean, I think in, you know, the last podcast I talked about become a member of your local Trout Unlimited group, and Cumberland Valley Trout Unlimited. We're an active chapter. You know, on the Letort, I was studying under, Gene Geiza and Jerry Kerstetter for so long, Tom Baltz, Don Albright. I lead the Feet in the Streams crew, which is the FITS committee. So we go out and we try to clear weeds and cut channels in the Letort and remove some, invasive species of grass from time to time.
Right.
But our chapter, I'm just a part of that working group. Right now with the Letort Long Range Planning Committee, we just finished a feasibility study to really roll out some long-term solutions to fixing the sedimentation on the Letort and firming up some of those banks that are eroding. So, down the road, I would love to see the Letort return to a fishable water for most people, because it seems like right now it's, what we did today, we I'll go out and tell it, we hooked quite a few fish. We put one in the net, good job, buddy. And, that shouldn't be the anomaly on a Class A wild trout stream.
Right.
It should be something that the average angler can go do. That's my goal, is to return it to a fishable state, and not just something from yesteryear.
Right.
We just rolled out the feasibility study last week at the PA Rivers Camp, the youth conservation camp. We rolled that out during a Cumberland Valley Trout Unlimited chapter meeting to our membership. And we're going to have a public meeting soon, get the public's input here in the Cumberland Valley, and move forward. So
nice.
For those that have been scared of the Letort as just a muddy, swampy pit.
Not true. Not true,
hopefully,
man. It's beautiful.
Yeah, hopefully there is some long-term solutions, and we got to take care of it before it's gone, because once our resources go away, they're very hard to ever get back, and that's the situation we're in right now.
Thanks for all that. That's incredible work. Yeah. And hey, volunteers make the world go around, I always say, and we love it if you're writing checks to TU, but there's an opportunity to get in the stream and do some work here on the Letort.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, every Trout Unlimited group prides itself on restoration. Get involved with your local chapter. I guarantee there's guys and women out there that are looking for your help. So get involved. As anglers, if we don't do it, I ask myself, who will?
Who will?
Yeah. I mean, we are at the forefront. Think about, we're outside in our streams, in our wild areas. We usually are the first to come across problems.
Yeah.
And we should help identify those and find solutions with government agencies, fish commissions and whatnot. Yeah. So, man, get involved.
Yeah, there you go. Now, changing subject just a little bit. We met a guy today on the stream, your buddy Rocky, right? And
I'll admit to knowing Rocky.
Man, I tell you, okay. Rocky was, I could tell the second I saw the guy, he had this walking stick and shirt half unbuttoned and, kind of a lot of hair everywhere. But he's the old man out of the sea of the stream.
So as Neil and I were driving from spot to spot along the Letort, he pulls into this driveway, this really old house, looked like it was built in the 1700s or something. And he introduced me to this guy named Rocky, who's kind of a local legend, a good friend of Neil's. And Rocky has been fishing and guiding the Letort since 1970.
Yeah. Rocky is a prime example of just a local Letort steward. The waterway has given so much joy and, so much pleasure to, Rocky and my other friends that work on the Letort. They give back. They're always tinkering, kind of like, we talked all day about Charlie and Vince. They were tinkerers and
some good, some bad tinkering, right?
Yeah. Let's focus on the good.
Yeah, that's also good.
But no, Rocky's he's a local legend in my heart, at least. He's an awesome guy. He's shown me a ton of stuff. Just understands what a Spring Creek is and understands the local environment and what needs to occur.
And Rocky has caught some 8-pound trout in this creek in Letort.
Yeah, man. He, if anybody's dug up big fish, it's him, man.
Yeah.
So,
fishing.
As legendary as his flies that he fishes. So.
All right.
Absolutely.
Without giving away secrets here, what's his legendary fly look like? What is it?
Rocky has he calls it his ant pattern, and it's a beautiful concoction of a peacock curl on basically a salmon hook that man, he daps that thing in the water and fish bite. It's like feeding a fish a Big Mac, I guess.
A great big huge chunk of meat, right?
Absolutely, man. He's a dry fly guy, and he loves chasing the fish like we all do.
Well, he might have invented the Chernobyl ant and didn't even know it.
How about it, man?
It's about 2 inches long.
Yeah, I think 3 of them fit in like a 35 millimeter film container. You know,
oh, that's hilarious. Oh my gosh.
Well, my dad first knew him before he ever got into fishing.
Lefty Cray?
Yeah, Lefty was a family friend.
Oh, wow.
And actually helped me get my guide service going when I had a little guide service to do something. Make a few bucks back in the 70s. I called it Have Rods Will Travel.
Yeah.
And I'd take people to Big Springs, Falling Springs, Yellow Reaches, and the Letort.
Yeah.
I had a trick with the Letort. I would do the roll casting thing. I'd spot the fish, watch how he was feeding, then I'd roll cast and get the fly to where the next roll cast,
boom,
I could reach him.
On it.
Yeah,
you wonder where I learned it.
I was going to say, man, we saw some roll casting this morning.
So, but anyway, I had the Have Rods Will Travel thing, but the Letort back then, there was just the terrestrial insect fishing was crazy good.
Yeah.
You could go all day and look in the shady spots, even with the sun out. If you looked in the shade, you see these little rises, ants, beetles, crickets, grasshoppers, jouses, beetles particularly.
Rocky's being very humble right now.
Is that right?
Well, occasionally.
He ties the ant.
He's the ant guy.
Yeah,
Rocky's ant.
Now I do a 10 car with giant ants.
Do you?
That's when I do fish.
10 car?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I've got I had a 20-footer, which I bought in a bargain barrel at Gander Mountain for $8.
Say it ain't so.
20 foot.
$8 for a 10-car ride at Gander Mountain.
20-foot telescope. It was about this thick at the base,
Yeah.
but it worked. And then I had a 16-footer, which I still have, now about 13 feet. And my son got me one of the real fancy thin ones for
Now, Rocky, the last time we went fishing, you had a R.L. Winston bamboo rod out, so you're ready.
Ditch that Gander Mountain 10-car ride, didn't we?
From an $8 10-car to a Winston bamboo,
I
man.
got a lot of rods. In fact, I was going to offer to give you a rod that was given to me. I won't sell it because it was given to me. Do you have a 12-weight tarpon rod?
12 weight.
I stop at 10s, but man...
Marlin, here we come.
You want 12?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'll put it to good use in the keys.
Right,
You know me.
Yeah, I'll give you a 12 weight. Because Eric Edstrom gave it to me.
Oh, yeah.
And then I thought I'd pass it on. My days, of saltwater fishing have slowed down, not because I want them to, but I have a little motorboat that I'd taken down to the fish with a tail that went like that.
Tarpon fishing.
She reeled it up to the boat and was about to pull it up for the next cast, and underneath the lure right there, this huge tarpon mouth opened up.
Gulp.
And she pulled it out of the way. She didn't want the tarpon in her 14-foot canoe.
Oh, okay.
She pulled it out of the way. She didn't want that fish.
No. She didn't want that thing jumping into the boat.
How's your garden doing today, man?
Oh, it's pretty good. Yeah,
keeping it wet?
Yeah, I'm 71.
Yeah.
But the garden's good. I've got the green.
I got work to do tonight.
A shotgun. I've got numerous shotguns I can learn.
They frown on that in the borough of New Cumberland.
Yeah. No projectiles.
I got a crossbow that's nice and quiet.
Yeah, I might have to borrow that.
Yeah.
All right, so Neil, you were telling me today about a guy who got bit by a muskrat.
That was Jerry.
Rocky?
No, that was Jerry Kirstetter.
That was Jerry.
What did you get bit by?
Jerry got bit by a muskrat years ago.
Yeah.
He slid down the bank. He hooked a fish on a sculpin, and he said he wanted to slide down the bank to net it. Because it was, the high banks down lower, Romberger's meadow.
Oh, yeah.
I believe it was Romberg. And when he slid in, threw his Sims waders and drew blood.
Wow.
It was lucky it wasn't a snake.
Yeah, right.
I'd be more upset the bugger, had poked a hole in my Sims waders. Man.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No, it's always fun going out with Rocky. It's this guy has more fish stories to,
Oh my gosh.
to last a legend.
I did get a couple more stories. In fact, I stopped when you were and your buddies were drinking a beer.
Oh yeah,
I stopped there and talked to those two for a while because I had two things I wanted to tell you. You were interested in the fish upstream.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get some support here. Two stories I was going to tell you. One day I was sitting here, before I bought that land from the guy and burned his house off where the garden is.
Right.
His name was Dick or something like that. Yeah,
right.
It was Dick. He had a grandson that worked down at Dawn Conversion, that little car place with the Letort goes underneath 34.
Yeah, right there. Yeah.
And
that's real narrow up there, Steve.
He pulled up to me one time with this kind of shit-eating grin on his face. He said, "Hey, do you think there are any trout up by Dawn Conversion?" And I said, "Well, yeah, they can get up in there. You know," he said, 24 inches.
What?
Yeah, so what happened was there was a big brown that got landlocked up there.
Oh, got stuck.
And
really,
the boys that worked at the car place saw it, caught it, killed it, of course, with a night crawler.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So that was one. Then I got another story further up on the other side of 34. The guy that runs that little ZZ's graveyard.
Right by the Stardust Motel.
Yeah. Right by Claire's Orchard there. His brother spotted a nice brown in behind their little operation there one time in a deep pool, and he became obsessed with it, and finally he did catch it. That was like a 17-inch brown.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they get up there.
Rocky, what's your personal best out here?
Oh, I've gotten some 8-pounders, but
8 pounds.
you figure every 10, 12, 15 years you get
an 8-pounder.
Because I've been fishing this almost 50 years.
Wow.
So every 10 or 12 years you get lucky.
Yeah.
I had one up here. There was a big bush that overhung a deep pool, and I plopped my big heavy ant behind the bush. And here comes this brown out, and I'm watching the brown just blend away, and all of a sudden his mouth starts going, "Hey, he's eating my fly!" I set the hook, but he had kind of already spit it out.
Huh?
So I missed him, but then I did get with the 10 car. I did get one about 24 or 5 inches up here.
Wow.
When I put the ant in front of a log jam, and he just...
Are we blocking the driveway?
Boom.
He fired out. Oh, that is the carpenter.
How long you lived here?
25 years.
25 years?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Good meeting you.
Yeah, I've been on the creek for a while.
I guess, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad you got one. That's
I'm
nice.
excited.
Steve's good people, man. He's real good people.
Yeah.
So anyway, Neil, what's the name of this restaurant?
We're at Cafe 101.
Come on, man. Right across the street from TCO Fly Shop. And we just had a great meal, and the service was good, the atmosphere was good, and Neil and I got to catch up on life here and fishing.
Solved all the world's problems almost.
Yeah, come
almost.
on. We did. Anyway, Neil, I just want to say thanks for taking me fishing. I'm glad that we both got to wet a line today.
Yeah, amen. It was days like this are very memorable, and this was up there on the scale, man. I will not forget that hook set. And and the fight anytime soon, man.
I'm glad I didn't
it's
screw
forever
it up.
in my memory banks.
I'm so glad I didn't screw it up. And then I become one of your best fish stories.
The one that got away.
The podcaster.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah, the podcaster who screwed up the hook set.
No, man. Keep doing what you're doing, because the angling community needs fresh ideas, and that's what you're bringing to the community. So we thank you, man.
Oh, you bet. Yeah. All right. Good seeing you, man.
All right, Steve.
Thanks.
Take care, man.
All right.
Safe travels.
Yeah.
You can check out my Instagram page to see pictures and videos from this great day on the Letort with Neil. And also, Neil was kind enough to send me a picture of Rocky's secret ant pattern, which is actually tied on like a number 2 salmon hook, if you can believe it. So next stop on my fishing spree was Penn's Creek to catch up with Jonas Price from the Feathered Hook. And along the way, I stopped in this little town called Millheim, Pennsylvania. at a coffee shop called the Inglebean and chatted with the owner, Dennis, who had a really interesting outlook on life. So let's listen to this.
This is Dennis.
Dennis
Allen,
how's
it going, man?
Good. Dennis Allen, City Boy Homesteader, don't forget that.
Is that right?
Yep.
All right.
Originally from New York City area, gave up the whole corporate life.
Really?
Sold my house, sold everything, moved out here.
And out here is where?
Milheim, Pennsylvania. I actually live in Woodward. Milheim's the big city. We have a traffic light.
We're at the traffic light.
With the traffic light.
Okay, all right, I
My
got
town,
you.
we don't have a traffic light. About 100 people in the town.
Yeah.
Moved out here to get away from it all, build a off-grid homestead in
cool.
Woodward.
Homestead. So you live off the land over there?
Yep.
Really?
I'm trying to,
No kidding.
I did buy this coffee shop to kind of fill in some of the city missings that I've been going through. So this is our local coffee shop here. We use a lot of organic, local foods here and building community, one cup of coffee at a time.
And what is the name of your coffee shop?
The Inglebean.
This is a really cool place, folks. Look, and a lot of character. And it was built when? The original
building about 1900, early 1900s. 1900. It was remodeled, redone about 10 years ago.
Tore the ceiling out, right?
Everything. Put our second floor up there. That's Mad Dog Maddie.
What's going on, Mad Dog Maddie? So anyway, was this fireplace here? This is amazing.
That's from an old barn.
You put that in?
An old barn. Yeah, I didn't do it, but people put it in.
Okay.
Yep.
And then this is a B&B up there.
There's
Airbnb.
3 Airbnb rooms. Those are the pictures right there.
Okay.
Pretty much like a bed in a bathroom. We do the breakfast part of it. So if you stay there, you get free breakfast here.
Oh, man. Thanks.
Thank you. You too.
All right.
So if you're fishing in and around Penn's Creek, Milheim is just up the road a little bit. Be sure to swing up there and check out the Inglebean Coffee Shop. It's a great spot. Next on the fishing spree is the one and only Jonas Price of the Feathered Hook. Hey, always a hoot, Jonas shares some warm weather summer strategies for the area, his top fly picks, and why locally tied flies are the way to go. Okay, folks, so I'm here with Jonas Price, owner of the Feathered Hook in Coburn, Pennsylvania, and we did an episode with Jonas and his head guide, Matt Kowalchuk. Am I saying that right, Jonas?
Yes.
All right, good. Back in February, and that show has been a fan favorite ever since. And last week, I was in central Pennsylvania on a fishing spree and had a chance to stay at the Feathered Hook, the bed and breakfast there, which is always a great experience. And so anyway, we're here today to check in with Jonas to see how he's doing, how the store's doing, and how the fishing's been. So Jonas, welcome to the show.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you for having me back.
Yeah, you bet. You bet. So it's summertime. How is the weather and the heat affecting the fishing there? I'm seeing a lot of pictures of smallmouth bass on your website.
It's true. Let's see here. So for those of your listeners who don't know me, I am a large man who does not love the heat. Right? This body shape does not tolerate heat particularly well. So I guess in that case, I have that in common with trout.
Yeah.
It has been a very unusual weather year for us already. Not a particularly wet spring. It got really hot early. We had 90s in May. That's super unusual. Then it cooled back down. Then we had rain. It's been hot the last few days. It was probably hot when you were here.
Yeah, it was. It was 96 degrees one day.
Oh, terrible.
Yeah, I know. Sweat like you've never sweated before.
Yeah, no, I'm not a fan. And so, it's interesting. Today wasn't nearly as hot. It was about, I guess, humidity now goes up to 200%. So that's a lot. But it was tolerable today. And tomorrow and the next day are supposed to be even better. So, and we've had rain today, which is great. So I think we're going to get through this summer just fine.
Yeah, there's hope.
Yeah, there's always hope. Having said that, this might be one of those years that we're real picky about where we go and when we fish and where we fish.
Right.
The area, as you and I have talked about many times, is just loaded with spring heads and cold spring water. Almost all the major streams in the area are spring-fed or spring-based streams. And so if you know where you're going, and we're, of course, here to help people know where they're going, you can always find cold water. So Coburn, for example, is 9 miles downstream from Penn's cave, where it comes out of the ground. And right next to the shop there, it can actually get pretty warm. But 300 yards downstream, Elk and Pine Creek are coming in, and they're bringing in I'm not exactly sure the number. I would guess about 17 million gallons a day of cold spring water that then re-energizes and keeps the stream cold for the next couple of miles and so on and so forth. If you go upstream to the town of Spring Mills, it's almost always cold up there.
Spring Mills on Penns Creek?
Yeah, Spring Mills on Penns Creek. It's only 3 miles downstream from the cave. So it's usually still really cold there.
Oh, very good. What's the water? It's cold. What's the water like? How big is it? What are the flows like up there?
Let's see. It's a smaller stream up there. It's probably 30 to 40 feet wide.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Oh, it's certainly. I mean, it's still a nice trout stream for sure. And, it's chock full of wild fish up there.
Yeah, nice. I was able to fish a little section of Elk Creek, too. Somebody let me on because it's all, nice. Yeah, it's pretty much all private, right?
Most of it, yeah. I mean, there are places you can get in, but.
And that was nice. It was nice cold water. And I tell you what, if you find some cold water out there, even in the heat, the fishing was outstanding. I had a great evening up there. Ants and beetles.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's a great terrestrial stream. It gets great hatches, but it's a great terrestrial stream. Pine Creek also.
Right. And now you've got a place on Pine Creek that you guys, back in February, I think you had Matt in there hanging some drywall. How's that place coming along?
Well, it all came together to my surprise and happiness. And we opened for business on the 13th of March. It's been good. It's been busier than I would have anticipated. People like to go fishing still, which is great. And, not everybody gets the opportunity to do something new in the middle of a pandemic, but sometimes when those opportunities arise, you got to take them. And the nice thing about that part of Pine Creek is what they call a sinking stream, where it goes underground into a limestone fault, and that undergroundness could last for 20 yards or it can last for a mile. And right above the property, it comes up out of the ground into the largest fault. And then we have 2 other major aquifers on the property. And so we always have water and it's always cold. In fact, it was 86 or higher for 3 days in a row. And we temped our water and it was 54 degrees. So that's pretty good.
So the air temperature was 86 and the water was 54.
Correct.
Yeah, that's outstanding. So does that mean the fishing's good all day?
It's just like any other stream. It's finicky. They don't like a bright sunny day there.
Right.
Trout don't like bright sunny days.
Your fish don't have eyelids?
We bought them for them, but we have not installed them yet. Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay. Very good. So how's your guide staff doing? Have you guys been busy? You've been taking trips out or mostly smallmouth fishing? What have you guys been up to there?
Well, we're guiding on the property for trout still because it's nice and cold. We're guiding pens on the days that the stream temperatures allow us to. But the biggest request we've been getting is for floating for smallmouth on the Juniata, which has been super fun.
Okay.
I've even got to go myself a number of times.
Okay.
I have a standing ask with all the guides. Hey, if you only have one client in the boat, let me know.
Yeah. And you'll give the client the bow, right?
Sure. That's just the appropriate thing to do. And, but today, Matt floated it today and he had one of his best days on popper so far of the year. So he had a couple clients. They floated a 6-mile stretch and I think they boated over 40 fish. So that's pretty good. Yeah.
That's great. So you get trout anglers that are fine with switching over to some warm water species, huh?
It's interesting. Some yes, some no, of course. And I spent a lot of years as a trout snob, so I get it. But what I really find is they want to go fishing. And if you tell somebody, well, we can go, maybe bang a few trout or we can go catch a whole pile of smallmouth. And to my surprise, there's been a larger number of our clientele who have never done it.
Oh, wow.
Who have never gone smallmouth fishing out of a boat with a fly. Matt's got a really nice drift boat and, We've got a couple of really nice rafts, like 3-person rafts, and
oh, cool.
It's been a blast.
Yeah. So you've made some believers out of them, huh?
Yeah. Selling more 7 and 8 weights than normal, that's for sure.
Okay. What's been the strategy? What's working on smallmouth right now?
It's a 3-piece game, the way we do it predominantly, right? Which I guess in that way, it's no real different. I mean, one of the nice things about smallmouth fishing is that it's really just trout fishing for a more aggressive species because they eat almost all the same foods. So we are throwing a crayfish or big nymphs, hellgrammite kind of things, and we're throwing streamer patterns for minnows. But I would say that 85% of our time is throwing poppers. I mean, I want to fish dry flies if they'll let me.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a guide here in Indiana I did a show with on Sugar Creek, and he was saying that this time of year that they get the Japanese beetle patterns out. Do you guys have Japanese beetles out there too?
I don't think we do. Not that I'm aware of.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
Yeah, not that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
We did just have the cicadas, which was pretty fun.
Yeah, right. Did you have a pretty good hatch of cicadas then?
Yeah, we down, not at Penn Creek, but down on the Juniata. Yeah, they had a great one, and it was super fun.
Okay. So what are some of the streams that stay cold in the summer? You know, like you were saying, Penn Creek was pretty warm. It was in the high 60s, and I really didn't want to fish it. So
yeah, so Penn's, you got to be really picky about where you are. And so close to where Elk and Pine Creek come in, or closer to the source. Fishing Creek is our coldest stream in the area. That's up just north of us, about 25 minutes. All the streams in the area come out of the ground at 52 degrees, except for that one comes out at 50 for reasons unbeknownst to me. But it stays really cold. It's got a lot of overgrowth and vegetation that keeps the sun off of it a lot of the day. Spring Creek in State College to Bellefonte can be affected by the temperatures. It has a lot of major spring heads. I shouldn't say a lot. Where the water comes into the creek, it is almost always a multi-gallon a day spring head. And so that gives us a large number of places we can go where we know it's going to be cold. My favorite in the summer is Milesburg. Downstream of the Bellefonte means beautiful spring, or beautiful fountain, beautiful spring. And that's a 32 million gallon a day spring head. And the water from Bellefonte down to Milesburg, which is about 3 miles, is just always cold no matter what.
Okay. And that's pretty big water down there.
Yeah, it's probably 30, 40 feet wide. And it's definitely pushing some CFS for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's totally wadable and everything, but for Spring Creek, it's big water.
Yeah. And I fished down by those railroad tracks in the town of Bellefonte, and that was some big water. I mean, you had to be careful. And I was fishing by myself, so.
Oh, sure. Well, and you and I are not as young as we used to
be. Exactly. I do not want to float the hat if I can help it.
Right. Correct.
What kind of hatches can people expect? Is it all different on all these different streams?
No, it's actually all the same on all these different streams with a few minor exceptions.
Okay.
Let's see. Spring Creek, Fishing Creek, and Penn's all get a trico.
Okay.
It varies in amount from stream to stream. They all get a light Cahill. They all get a small tan caddis this time of year, and they all get crane flies this time of year. I still am terrestrial fishing a lot of the time. I'm throwing either a good sized beetle, like maybe a size 10, or a pretty small ant, like a size 16 or 18. And I fish a lot of wet ants too.
Wet. Okay. So submerged ants.
Yeah. Usually in a dry dropper kind of situation.
Like those little epoxy ants?
Yep, exactly.
Okay. I was using one with a red rear end.
Yeah, who came up with that?
I don't know.
I don't know. It works good.
I didn't do very well with it.
You did not? Yeah, no.
I didn't do as well on it. I did better just with pheasant tails, and I had caddis on top, and then just pheasant tails and green weenies. Those are working good.
Absolutely.
It's just the strangest fly. What is that thing? That's a inchworm? What is it?
It is a very good question. Everyone I've ever met has their own opinion about that.
Is that right?
I can tell you this. There is, I don't even know what it's called. There is a worm that lives on the bottom of all of these streams that eats wood, like vegetation and wood. And it is that nuclear green color, that chartreuse green color.
It really is.
And yeah, it really is. And they don't hatch or ever become anything else. So they're there 365 days a year. We get inchworms around the area big time, and they're absolutely that color. And we tie it in a foam floating pattern. But as far as the green weenie goes, I have for years have come to believe that it's probably whatever that worm that eats that barky vegetation-y stuff, because they're always there. Yeah, they must key in on them at some point.
I mean, you look at that bright green thing with the loop on the tail, you think this is just going to scare fish away. I mean, it's going to put them down.
Right. Not so much.
Every day I fish. Yeah.
They got a tiny brain. What are they going to
do? Right. What other patterns do you like?
Fish a lot of small stuff in the summer. Pheasant tails, 18, 20. Lots of little midge larvae. I'm a zebra midge guy, but I'm sure there's a whole bunch that I don't think it matters.
Okay.
And we actually tie up a trico nymph in a 22.
Oh, you do? Huh.
I don't know that it works any better than the midge larva. I think at that point in time, you're literally splitting hairs.
Right.
But it catches fish. So it seems like to me that in the summer, they get into a pattern where they really do a lot of eating, but of a lot of small things. Right. And, I don't pump stomachs, but dominated by midge larvae and things like that. And so trico nymphs are pretty small. I catch fish on Lake Cahill's. On Penn's and Fishing Creek, we also get a nice Anikia all summer long.
Okay. What size are those?
On Fishing Creek, it's like a 12, and on Penn, 12, 14, and on Penn's, it's like a 10, 12. So if I want to throw something bigger, I'll throw stonefly nymphs or that Anikia nymph.
Okay. What size do you like on zebra midges?
I like them like about a 20, but as I get older, I accept them in an 18. So okay. I can still tie them on.
Yeah. And what's your favorite color, zebra midge?
Black with silver or black with copper.
Black and silver?
Yeah, black and silver, black and copper.
Some guy was telling me, you got to fish those little red ones, man. Those are the best.
I've caught a lot of fish on red midge larvas, for sure.
Have you? Yeah. Do you like them on a straight hook or on a shrimp hook?
I prefer them on a straight hook.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I've been to some rivers. Like I was fishing the White River a couple years ago, and I did not have any straight hook zebra midges, and everybody was killing it. All the guys in my group had those. I only had curved ones. I did not catch any fish. Same size, same color.
We love to blame the fly, don't we, Steve?
Of course. Yeah, it couldn't have been me. Come on.
I mean, I've seen you folks. It could be the fly.
Yeah, right. Maybe it could have. Oh, man, busted. Thanks, Jonas.
No, I mean, I love to tell myself that little stuff doesn't matter, but unfortunately, sometimes it literally matters.
Well, you could see them. I mean, you could see some of them were just, floating on top, and they were straight.
Yep.
And so, I was just too stubborn. I did not want to wade 100 feet downstream and go ask my buddy who was like, I was helping him, right? I'm
right.
Like supposedly the expert. I didn't want to go ask him for one of his flies, And I thought, I'm going to show him. And by, the guy got out of the water. He's like, how many fish did you catch? And I was like, not many. And he's just like, about 15. He kind of like walked by with his chest all puffed out. Yeah, I was jealous. I admit it.
So good. It's good.
Anyway, so something else I want to ask you about. You guys, you got a new website, by the way. It looks good.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, my buddy redid it for us.
Yeah, it looks really good. And your Pine Creek Lodge looks awesome on there. I kind of want to go check that place out.
Yeah, you'll have to go see it next time you're here.
Yeah. You guys mentioned that you say you have the largest selection of locally tied flies. And I'm just wondering, what's the story there? Is that what you guys are doing all winter, sitting up in your fly shop, tying flies all winter?
I got 27 this year, local fly tires. We just added a new guy who's been really, really good.
Wow.
Let's see. There was a gentleman named Toby who I met in my first year. Very, very nice man. And he told me, you need locally tied flies. They're going to be the only right flies for the area. And I said, okay, Toby, you tie flies. I'll buy your flies. How much are they? And he said, they're $16 a dozen. And I said, but the flies I'm getting emails for are $2.50 a dozen. out of Africa at the time. And he said they wwon't be good. And I said, they don't have to be good for that price. And he was right and I was wrong. Right.
No kidding.
Because I ordered those flies, and not only were they terrible, but they were wrong. Right. And that's no unintended offense to them. But, you know, the chemical composition of each waterway affects what the flies look like. And I am blessed that so many of our fly tyers that we have grew up in the area or live in the area. And, you know, every year you lose a couple, and every year in a good year, I pick up a couple more, and everybody starts the same way. I want 1 dozen of this fly, you know, and they tie it up. And then I say, okay, those are good. Let's talk about this. These bodies need thinner, right? This needs to be more consistent, And then they get assigned 4 dozen more of the same fly. If at the end of that 5 dozen, they've made progress and showed they can do it, they get their first real order, which is 20 dozen. And you lose half of the people right there. But if they hang on, then, you know, we've been really lucky. This area is blessed with high quality fly tyers, as fly fishing is genuinely part of the life here, you know, at a wide scale.
Yeah.
And, you know, like the guy I just picked up this year, he was a friend of mine, and he said, you might want to check out his flies. They were gorgeous. And he seems to be just as happy doing it as I am to buy them.
Yeah. I don't know how people.
Oh, me neither. I commercially tied for about 10 years. And if I have to do another.
Oh, you did?
10,
really?
Yeah. For my shop, I had to. And I just don't have enough brain for that. I like to tie flies. I like to tie 3 of something, and then I want to tie 3 of something else. And the problem is that, you know, I'll never get a dozen done. So
yeah, I'm the same boat. I don't know how they sit there and just knock out fly after. They must tie really fast, right? So,
my lead guy, who's been with me now for 22 years, can tie, depending on the pattern, but let's just take like a standard size 12 parachute. Hendrickson can tie 3 dozen of them an hour, and his hands literally look like they're blurring when he's doing it. It's crazy.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And they're good.
They're the best, with no due offense or no intended offense. But many of the gentlemen who work at the other fly shops and ladies who work in the other fly shops in the area, they come buy our flies.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. I mean, it's really what we're known for.
Yeah, I didn't know that. So I'm glad you guys made kind of put that in lights on your new website. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of your fly shop, what's the vibe been lately in the fly shop? Are you still having fun with your customers?
Always. Having said that, it is definitely summer. So we have much less of an audience than we have during the spring.
Darn.
Yeah, it's quiet, as you saw when you were there. It's quiet. And that's fine, because it was a wonderful and very busy spring. So
good for you.
The pandemic has been good for the fishing industry. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I'm hearing that everywhere. What's the funniest thing that's happened this year in your shop, Jonas?
Oh, that's a good question. It's probably all in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah.
A gentleman, I was helping some customer try on a pair of waders, which is one of my favorite things to do. And I'm standing right next to the front door, and I saw a gentleman getting ready to come in. And so I opened up the door for him, right, pretending to be a nice person. And he said to me, "Is this your shop?" And I said, "Yeah." I mean, it was too serious, you know what I mean? And I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah, no.
He's like, "But are you the owner?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "The last time I was in here, you told me and my buddy to go ourselves." And I said, "Sir, if I'm being really honest, that sounds like something I might say." But he was straight facing me big time. And I'm like, I'm sorry if I offended you. And then he just breaks into this big smile and he says, "Offended me? We're still laughing about it to this day. I just wanted to come by and tell you." And I said, "Oh, you had me." And he said, well,
man.
turnabout is fair play. And I thought to myself, this is the weirdest job ever, right? Like this guy and his friend are still talking about me giving them the business. And he came back to give it back to me, and I couldn't be happier than that.
You were trying to get him the heck out of the shop, and he still came back.
I mean, just busting balls. Not people take fly fishing real serious. We're not one of those people.
Exactly. Should be fun.
Should be fun.
Yeah. Well, great talking to you, Jonas. Thanks for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Steve, great catching up. I look forward to seeing you again soon, my friend.
All right, Jonas. Take care.
Same deal.
Well, there you have it, folks. My fishing spree through central Pennsylvania. Hey, thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoyed the show. And if you get a chance, check out my Instagram and Facebook pages for pictures and videos of these destinations, and be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcast. As always, our music is by our Brothers Fountain. Tight lines, folks, and we'll see you again soon.
Well, I'll go from the land to the shining sea. But I know there's more to life than what the eye can see.